Welcome, everyone. Today is Monday, August the 4th, 2025, and you are here for the It's All Good Circle, and that makes me, of course, Dr. Dream, and I am thrilled to be here. This is part one of a three-part series titled Raise Your Frequency, Own Your Power. I have to say, when I came up with that title as a topic, it was going to be for just one of our sessions. And then upon further reflection, I was like, there's no way we can even scratch the surface in one section. We need to do it in three. And then even tonight, I made a joke that if I go off on tangents like I am right now, that we might have to make it an 8-part series. But let's get right down to everything. I've got most of these It's All Good circles, I get to do a very easy, friendly little banter and bring everyone into the energetic, do the meditation, and then we have a presenter, and there's not much pressure on me. And not that there's pressure on me tonight, but there is. I have a time frame and lots to cover. And so I've got stacks of notes in front of me that I have been pulling together and focusing on all day. So we'll go ahead and start. I just want to welcome everyone again. Thank you for being here and for saying yes to this journey together. This 3-part series is an opportunity for us to understand, elevate, and fully own our frequency so that we can embody our true power. Tonight, we begin by grounding ourselves and setting a clear, aligned intention for this experience. So go ahead and gently close your eyes. Let's take a slow, deep breath in. Hold it for a moment and then release it fully. Once more, inhale deeply. And exhale, letting go of any tension or distractions. Now, imagine a beautiful, radiant pillar of light descending from the highest source of pure love and wisdom. See it softly flowing down through the crown of your head, illuminating your entire body, and continuing all the way down through your feet, anchoring deeply into the heart of the earth. Feel this pillar of light connecting you completely. Your physical body, your heart, your energy, with both earth and source. And allow yourself to feel fully supported, nourished, and connected. As you breathe gently, visualize this light becoming brighter with every inhale, attuning you to your highest vibration. With every exhale, allow any heaviness, worries, or limitations to be released into the earth for transmutation. Now, quietly or out loud, however you want, you're in your own space right now, repeat after me. I am attuned to my highest frequency. I am attuned to my highest frequency. I am attuned to my highest frequency. Take a deep breath in. And as you exhale, feel this truth anchoring deeply into your being. Now take another slow breath. And when you're ready, gently wiggle your fingers, your toes, open your eyes. Welcome back. We're fully present, fully connected, and ready to begin. This is, as I said, part one of a three-part series. It is titled Raise Your Frequency, Own Your Power. And my two other legs of the foundation of this circle, Destiny and Phil, will be assisting me in the discussion. But I need to lay the groundwork a little bit. Let's begin with the foundation. What is frequency? At the most basic level, frequency is the rate at which energy vibrates. Everything in the universe, whether it's physical or non-physical, is made up of energy. This includes atoms, cells, sound, light, thoughts, and emotions. They all vibrate at specific frequencies. When we talk about raising your frequency, we're really talking about increasing the vibrational quality of your being. How light, clear, aligned, and coherent your energy is. Scientifically speaking, high frequency states are often associated with coherence. Coherence in the nervous system and the electromagnetic field of the heart and brain. Now, studies have shown that when we are in states of love, gratitude, or joy, our heart rhythms become more harmonious. We feel more clear-headed, emotionally balanced, and physically energized. I did an event years ago, I believe it was 2010, in San Francisco at a very sort of trippy place with a guy that's like one of these guys that's almost too smart for his own well-being. He's just like, and being around him was incredibly exciting. And he had a gentleman there from Japan, and he said, we're studying coherence. This was 2010, and I thought, coherence? I mean, what? I didn't even know what coherence was. I had no foundation for this word. And I said, great, I'd love to be part of the study. And they said, okay, Dr. Dream, we're going to put these electrodes all over your body and on your head. And there's some very sophisticated equipment in the back. And as you go through facilitating this experience for this group of people, it's going to be telling us how coherent you are with this, how coherent your words and where you're coming from are, what that connection and what it is. What I learned was that it was about the brain and or what I've assimilated it to mean for me was it was the balance of the brain and heart. And as I just stated, it was the heart rhythms, when we're in those states of love, gratitude, and joy, our heart rhythms are more harmonious. And so they wanted to see if while I was speaking, while I was sharing this offering, if I was actually in coherence. And I was like, great. I mean, I didn't know enough to have it make me nervous or anything. I was just like, felt like the guinea pig. And I'm like, yeah, let's do this. And at the end of the evening, and we had packed up, so I can't remember the Japanese gentleman's name, but he had time to go through all of this. And he said to me, took me aside, and he said, Dr. Dream, I've never seen anything quite this fascinating. I watched everything you did, and now looking at the report, you were in absolute balance and coherence with everything you were saying and you were sharing. And it was fascinating. And now, 15 years later, being coherent and coherence and all of this is much more in the languaging that we all use and understand. So, little side note there. Spiritually speaking, higher frequency aligns with source, intuition, and purpose. When we're vibrating at a high level, synchronicities flow and we feel connected to something greater. Lower frequencies such as fear, guilt, or shame create distortion, heaviness, and disconnect. So when you raise your frequency, you're not just feeling better, you're literally altering your electromagnetic state. Thoughts, emotions, food, music, relationships, these all shift your frequency. Now, yesterday, I participated with the most wonderful dear soul and friend now of mine, Daryl Dennis, who's on with us tonight. We did a Zoom session supporting EE System Center owners who have been going through a lot. I'm not going to go into all the story and everything, but let's just say the dramas and distractions have been put on a silver platter and placed in front of all these center owners. And many of us have just taken to it like the free buffet and fallen into the trap. And so yesterday was about supporting these owners. Now, in the last months, I've taken a very vocal and outspoken role in calling out some injustices, false truths, things that got me rattled. And I jumped right in and made videos calling things out. And I got, every week I was getting threats of being sued. And I was even saying, oh, this is good. I struck a nerve and all this. And so I went from maybe 6 or 8 months ago being Dr. Dream, who could easily have been referred to as Dr. Love, to being someone who could still connect with rainbows and butterflies, but boy, does he have an edge. And I took it as my role to support these people that I am so connected with and I love so much. In the process, I realized that it was a lower frequency for me. But I thought, if this is what I'm being called forth to do and no one else is taking up the gauntlet, then I will take this responsibility. And so yesterday, Daryl and I are starting off this beautiful Zoom gathering that's all about love and support. And the very first comment comes from someone that I am very connected with, who basically calls me out and for being like, well, if we're all showing up in love and support, how is it that all this other stuff is happening? And I knew it was directly meant for me. And I have to say that several people that were on the Zoom were offended or felt like this person was deeply steeped in judgment and wanted to step up and defend me and all of this. I have to say that in that moment, I was not offended at all. And I thanked her for bringing this up. And I said, let's address the elephant in the room. And I didn't come from my brain. I related directly from my heart, tears and everything. And it just flowed. And it was obviously not thought out. I had no idea that this was going to happen. And I put all my stuff out on the table and where I am in my process as a human and everything else. And then later on in the Zoom, I got called out again for a video I made that was very low frequency because I called out a lot of centers that were doing some things that I didn't like. And in that moment, I was listening to the person and I was feeling his heart. I went to YouTube and I deleted that video. And when he was finished, I said, I just want you to know on my own accord, I've deleted that video and I want to apologize to you. And some of the people after the call said to me, what they did, what they were doing wasn't in coherence with a strong belief you have. I'm not sure you needed to apologize. I'm not sure you needed to do this. And I said, I know that I can be a higher frequency, that I can show up as a higher frequency, and that's what I'm going to do. And it ended, the Zoom ended, and it was really beautiful, and it felt the energy and everything. Stephanie and I are in Coeur d'Alene. We went out, we went to a fair, crafts fair in the park on the Lake Coeur d'Alene. And as we had just walked in and we were walking through the booths, and all of a sudden, people started coming up to me and saying, "Wow, that holster you're wearing with all the stuff and everything, that's really amazing. And oh, your shirt." And someone else, said your beard is really something. And like Stephanie are kind of looking at each other. We even made a joke. Stephanie said, "What? No one likes my, American flag tank top? What's going on here?" I mean, it was that kind of thing, and it was wild. There were no less than 7 compliments that came my way. And we were driving, and then we just kind of kept going through the experience, and we were driving home. And I said, "Stephanie, what did that happen? Did that happen in like a 30-minute span?" And she said, "No, that whole thing happened in 10 minutes. You received 7 comments, 7 compliments from different people in a 10-minute span." And I'm like, that just kind of blows my mind. And she looked at me because I still hadn't connected the dots. And she said, "You moved a lot of energy today." And I was like, oh my gosh, Daryl's whole thing is about being in the quantum and creating shifts in the quantum field. And when you do that, it's instantaneous what comes back to you. You don't have to do anything else. I didn't have to run around that arts and crafts fair and compliment people to get compliments. I didn't have nothing. I was just walking, just being in my field, and all those compliments came to me. And I said, I shifted so much in the quantum field, and that was the instantaneous result of it. And you call it magic, you call it whatever, but I call it proof of how it works when we shift our frequency, when we make a shift in the quantum field. And it still is mind-blowing to me, and yet it makes all the sense in the world. And yet I never want to take for granted how it creates this awestruck energy, or this thing where, like, the wow factor. I never want to lose that. I always want to have that when I make that shift and I get the instantaneous response. And this takes us into how thoughts, emotions, and environment influence vibration. 3 major influences shape our frequency every day, and it's our thoughts, our emotions, and our environment. And our thoughts are like energetic signals. Each thought carries a vibration. Repeated negative or fear-based thinking, like worrying, criticizing, or doubting, lowers your frequency. On the other hand, affirming, gratefulness, gratitude, empowering thoughts lift you up and raise your frequency. And emotions signify those thoughts. Emotions like love, joy, and appreciation and hope raise your frequency, while emotions like anger, shame, resentment, grief, emotions that make us feel like the victim, would be considered less than comfortable. And we're human, but if they become chronic, if that is your pattern, they drain your life force. And so it's really important to realize this. I talk all the time about when I met Stephanie, I thought I knew what gratitude was, and I was even a little cocky about it. And then what I learned was that, like, I didn't know gratitude, and Stephanie taught me what real gratitude was. And because of that, she and I, in our union, are in this constant state of gratitude and also love. Dr. Sandra Rose Michael says to us all the time when she's with us, she calls us the perpetual honeymooners. Well, we've been together 8.5 years. Okay, a lot of people fall into their patterns at by that time and this and that. And we're in this constant state of love, acceptance, sharing love, laughing, and it's all the time. Okay, and it keeps our vibrational energy, our frequency at this very high level. And now when I'm learning even more with Daryl and her book and all the offerings that she puts out there is an even deeper, more conscious way of going into this to create those shifts immediately. And for people that have businesses, like the EE system owners, getting all caught up in the distraction, having less than comfortable thoughts about the people that are seemingly making the owners the victim, it's getting them stuck. And their businesses are having trouble because they're not attracting at the level that is the frequency they went into the business for, which is God sent me here on a mission, and I am here to be part of this with the EE system that Dr. Sandra Rose Michael brought to all of us because it's going to change humanity. Instead, they're like, boy, that other company, that other guy, these are bad people. They're doing bad things, blah, 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 blah. And all it's done is keep us stuck. And anyone that has a business that's not focused on the heart and soul reason, mission of why you're in that business to start with, you're on the losing end of it. And the winning end, all it takes, it doesn't take a huge advertising budget. It doesn't take all this other stuff. All it takes is a shift in the mindset, heart set, and that changes everything instantaneously. I am telling you, I am the proof. It changes things instantaneously. Whew. So, obviously, I get really excited and all pumped up around all of this. Let's talk just for a moment about the deeper patterns, the beliefs and stories that shape our frequency behind the scenes. Years ago, I was attaching myself to the belief that is fully ingrained in me now that I'm creating my reality, that reality is coming from the inside out, not that reality is happening outside of me for me to react to it, that it's coming from me. And when I first started working with this concept, I was having some experiences that were less than comfortable. And I would say to myself, you're writing the script. Why did you write that into your script? And I'm like, I would never write that into my script. Never would I do that. And then I'm like, but it's happening. And I realized the reason it was happening is because we have a default setting. And if we're not consciously creating our reality, if we're not consciously raising our frequency and paying attention to our thoughts, our emotions, and our words, then we're creating from default. And creating from default has beliefs like I'm not enough, or I'm too much, I can't trust anyone, I don't deserve to be happy, life is unfair, whatever it is. And for me, I attached myself to, I said, well, I don't think as a human I'm ever going to really completely be able to stop judging. So I'm just going to have one universal judgment. And my universal judgment, you guessed it, it's right up here. It's all good. And every day I would say it over and over and over when anything happened. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good. And then people started seeing what I was doing and they'd say, hey, how could this be all good? And they would present something to me. And I would say, oh, well, that's my backup belief system. If it doesn't appear to be all good, it's just that I don't understand it yet. Go back to main belief system number one. It is all good. And after months and months, I realized I had stopped repeating it all the time. And I said, have I just lost it? And now that's not a reality for me. And what I realized was I had rewritten my default setting. And so now, without even thinking about it, as things came my way, it went through the it's all good filter. And I've been living that since 1994. It's been a basis foundation belief. I bought the itsallgood.com domain in 1994. People weren't even, they were still playing solitaire on their computers when I did that. So it's our thoughts, it's our words, it's our emotions. They're creating the patterns in our relationships, our choices, our energy. Be conscious, be aware. When we believe we're not worthy, we attract situations that mirror that belief. When we carry fear of being judged, we stay small or silent, and people all around us are judging us. When we stop judging ourselves, everyone outside of us stops judging us. And this is a reality. These patterns create energetic loops, and you may notice them repeating life as you're repeating life experiences, such as toxic relationships. It took me 3 marriages, 3 wives before Stephanie to get it right and realize that there was a pattern there, and to break the pattern and to grow and evolve and really shift that energy. And then I'm not even looking for anyone, and Stephanie shows up. This is real. And so the key to breaking these patterns is awareness. And it starts with asking, what story am I telling myself and then everyone outside of me? Is it true? Who would I be without this belief? And the moment you see a limiting belief clearly, you begin to disempower it. You put your focused attention on it, it begins to lose its energy, and then you rewrite it. Awareness alone begins to raise your frequency. And so, Destiny, Phil, please unmute yourselves. We are now into the interactive discussion with us. And the questions become, what situations or habits most often lower your frequency? What repetitive patterns leave you feeling stuck or powerless? And what belief might be at the root of that pattern? I want us to just have an open discussion between the 3 of us. Keep it real. Keep it from the heart. You're not being vulnerable here by sharing what is authentic for you. You're actually more in your power than anything else. And so, which of you wants to go first?
I'll go.
Okay. Destiny,
okay, so
while he's talking.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. So as I looked at, what you proposed and what we were doing, the first thing that kind of struck me was, okay, what are my triggers? And then I realized that, society has stuck us with this notion that we have triggers, when I've come to realize that it's not that we have triggers, it's what are we triggering? So in other words, in order to have the power, we come to the realization that we are the trigger. We get to trigger everything else. Nothing else triggers us. And forever I was in the belief that I have triggers, that other things made me react. And it's no, really, I have the power to make everything else react to me, or to allow everything else to react to me. And so that's the true power. And so when we talk about taking our power back, it's the realization that we are the trigger. It's just like we are the modality. We heal ourselves, and we are the trigger. We're in control of everything. And yeah, it's just it's a cool realization, and I'm happy to be part of this program, because I got to realize that this evening. I went, wait a minute, I don't have any triggers. I'm the trigger. So cool. Thank you.
I love it. And I want to just bring up one thing. I posted a meme yesterday that said, when you realize that the whole world is a reflection of your state of thinking, you realize that no one is bothering you. It's you fighting with yourself. And I was like, Wow, like that old picture that shows the Tibetan little boy. You can tell he's on the ground and there's a boot on his head. And then the other picture shows the whole picture and he's holding the boot himself. And there's no one else there but him. And it's like these things just hit these points home so clearly. Destiny, jump in here, will you please?
So I love how much you brought up earlier the idea of beliefs and how you were talking about how it's all good became your default setting. So I've realized in life that when you repeat something to yourself over and over and over again, it becomes a default belief. And your beliefs are like the filter, like you get in all of this information and then it goes through your filter. And so all of the things that you allow to influence you and the thoughts that you think that you allow to repeat and repeat and repeat, they have so much to do with how you're experiencing what's coming at you and what you're putting back out there. So one of the big things for me in my life has been music. When I really started paying attention to the kind of music I was listening to, because I listen to music all the time. It's a very big thing in my life. I realized that the messages that I was ingraining in myself had become beliefs that were totally untrue. They didn't need to be my beliefs, they didn't need to be my reality, but it was just something that was continually being pressed onto my consciousness. And so it changed the way that I viewed and received the world. And so when I made a conscious change in the music that I listened to and started listening to things that had lyrics that really um, expressed what I want to experience and believe in life, that really had a huge um, effect on the way that I live and the way that I feel.
Now, Destiny, I know you very well. And I'm just going to bring up a couple things. We're all just a community here and love and support, no judgment. You've been in many relationships over the years. Some of them someone on the outside might consider to be toxic. And you now find yourself in a relationship that is anything but toxic. Can you identify what shifted in you that allowed this new relationship to come forth?
Um, I think that it's been a long time coming. I think that the universe needed to do a whole lot of work on me. Um, it's interesting because I had been wanting it for a long time, but I think it was kind of it was it was all of the pieces of the desire coming together for me. So like finally understanding what I wanted enough to have a clear picture to give to the universe for it to give me a clear um physical manifestation.
There's no question that you are a different person on the inside today than you were in San Diego 3, 4 years ago. You want to address that a little bit?
Um, that has a lot to do with making better choices and feeling better about who I am, showing up um, with nothing to hide, showing up, being proud of the choices that I'm making and the direction that I'm going in, learning to love myself and not being out there looking for someone to love me because I need someone to love me because I have learned to do that for myself. But looking for someone just because I wanted a partner in life, not because I needed them to make me whole, made a big difference for me.
You are more your authentic self as I perceive you today than you ever have. And it shows in the outward manifestation of your life. And um, I hope I didn't make you uncomfortable by throwing all this out there, but it was all in an effort to bring some stuff to the surface and then to say, I really honor your process and your journey. And it is, for me, been nothing short of inspirational to watch as, you know, the husband of your best friend, and knowing all, you know, like knowing all of this stuff. And it's impressive, and it speaks to everything we're speaking about here. What is the vibration that we're holding? How much do we love ourselves? How much do we own our mission and our path here, and that we brought clarity into it? And when we do that, everything just, it's like, you know, the pieces just fall into place. And it's kind of wild how that's happened. Phil, you and Mary
Yes.
had a conversation a couple of weeks ago, before you even knew this was going to be a topic, about manifestation. Can you share? I know a little bit about all of you. Can you share a
You know,
little bit of that with us?
I can. So we, you know, and we've just we've never been on a, never, you know, and it's kind of, you know, they actually do if we really knew what it was. Um, it it's one of these things that, you know, many people, we manifest without really even thinking about what manifesting is. And it's really interesting to think about what the future is going to bring as we start to understand what it really, the power of it. Um, and you know, to bring this all back. So we've been blessed with being able to care for a lot of people, and for whatever God chose me to do, that was apparently was one of them. And he put me in this big house, and you know, I mean, it's just crazy how all this has happened. And I look back, and it, you know, I don't look back at it as I've created all this. No, it was part of the, I don't even know how all this happened. I don't have a clue. And that's great, because here I am, I'm sitting on a show with Dr. Dream. I've got all these wonderful people that I've met through this healing process of the EE system, that I, you know, a year and a half ago, or I 2 years ago, I knew absolutely nothing. What is this EE system? And I've been drawn into this. I've met all these wonderful people. It's the coolest thing on the planet. And so, you know, it's like, okay, so what are we going to do now that we actually know what we're doing? It's going to be fun.
That's right.
I really look forward to it.
I have this thing where I have a dream and a vision, and I energize it. And at a certain point, I then begin to say, it's already happened. Now I'm just catching up to it. And it just hits that point home. It was Abraham Hicks that said, if for every 17 seconds that you focus on something, it starts the process of creating it in reality. And I used to say to my clients, how many 17-second increments are you spending thinking about things that bring your energy down, that you don't want to create, that are your fears, that are, you know, this and that? And invariably people are like, oh my gosh, so many 17-second increments. And so it's just something to think about now. We'll move into this next part, which is sort of homework, or maybe we should call it mind work, for the next week. And that is, watch your thoughts, see where they go. Are you spending your 17-second increments on creating the life of your dreams, or are you spending it keeping you in these patterns that limit you and hold you back, and beliefs that don't serve your highest and best? And so if you're interested, more mind work in the next week would be that you keep a frequency awareness journal. And it's just could be just a piece of paper at your desk. And something like, what raised my frequency today? And could it be that you just took a moment to look eye to eye at the cashier at the grocery store and shared with them, thank you, I really appreciate you. Raised my frequency in that moment, also raise that other person's frequency, whatever it is. So think about that. And then on the other side of that, maybe make some notes about what lowered your frequency. I got triggered on social media before I left the house. I didn't clear it. And I got into the line at the grocery store, and the woman, the cashier, was in a terrible mood. And then in the parking lot, we both went to back up at the same time. And, I was like, rah, rah, to this person. And, you can all be traced back to like, oh, if I had realized that I had gotten triggered on social media and cleared that energy and raised my frequency before I left the house, I would have gotten in a different line than the cashier that was not having a good day. I would have parked in a different spot that didn't have that interaction, or I would have come out 5 minutes earlier or later and missed the interaction where we were both backing up at the same, whatever it is. And these are the realities that when we were doing the bowl experiences all over the country, I would say, when you see what it is, it's like, what do you do when you're on fire? Well, when your emotions or your frequencies are lowered, you stop, drop, and bowl, because we had Tibetan bowls with us. but it's that thing. It's like, don't wait. You're triggered, address it in the moment. It's going to take a couple of minutes to work on some affirmations, to love yourself, to honor yourself, to remind yourself that you're getting caught up in drama and distractions, and that's not who you really are. Clear that energy and then go out. It's worth that extra time. Also, note any limiting beliefs that surface and rewrite them as empowering statements. And so if something comes up and you realize the limiting belief is, I don't deserve this, then, maybe the empowering statement is, I deserve all things that are in the highest and best based on who I am and what I'm here to do in this lifetime. Boom. And then read that as many times over and over as you need to have that be a default statement in your field between you and God, source, the universe. Different things that we can do, simple frequency raising habits on a day-to-day basis, a gratitude list. I used to have my clients do a gratitude list and they'd say, oh yeah, I can do that. What do you want me to do? 5 or 10? And I'd say, no, I want you to do 40. And they'd say, what? And I'd say, yeah, the first 5 or 10 are super easy, but it's in the stretch that you really steep yourself in gratitude. And by the end of the 40, you're saying like, well, I have gratitude for butterflies. Those things make the Morphous ones with the blue and shimmering. Those make me very happy, or the smell of a rose, or I love sunsets. But it's to go as deep as you possibly can into gratitude. And if you can do it in 5 or 10 on your list, great. But if you feel like you're just giving lip service to it, stretch yourself and do a list of 40. 5 minutes of mindful breath work. And we're going to be talking about, we're going to be doing a lot more with mindful breath work, and having some experts come in and talk to us about this. From Destiny's book of raising her frequency, uplifting music first thing in the morning, or as you're driving to your job or your whatever, tomorrow night, Destiny and her significant other, I don't even know what to say yet until they get married. And Stephanie and I are going to see Michael Franti in Missoula, Montana. And it's like that music is just right. It's like he just comes out and he just touches your heart and gives it a nice rub and reminds you everything's great and there's beautiful things in the world. So we get to like raise our frequency tomorrow night with that. We're really excited about it. Let me give you before we move into the closing meditation, let's call this a closing affirmation. I am raising my frequency and reclaiming my power with every choice I make. I am raising my frequency and reclaiming my power with every choice I make. And you can say it as many times as you need to during the day, and say it until it just flows out of your mouth and you're owning it, that it really is who you are. We have the closing meditation is just a few minutes long. And so we actually have a little bit of time, a few minutes anyway. And next week, we're going to start off. These calls will be 90 minutes. So we make sure that we have enough time to get in discussion from everyone. And tonight, I didn't know how long it would be, and I didn't think we'd get any discussion, but we do. And so I'd like to open it up to you, the participants that showed up. Is there anyone that has anything to share that they would like to share right now? And here's the caveat, that by you sharing it, it will raise the frequency of everyone that's listening to it right now. It's like, oh, wait a sec. Okay, wait, does anyone have anything? I don't want to call anyone out, but Daryl, I mean, can you unmute yourself? Wait.
Okay, oh, there it is. Okay, hello everyone. Well, that was just spectacular, wonderful. What I'm just super excited about is for people to have an experience where they shift something inside and then the miracle happens. Actually, in the business classes I do, we call them out of the blues because it wasn't thought up, it wasn't strategized, didn't have a plan and efforts and do 6 steps and the 7th this will show up. None of that. Zero. And interestingly enough, the definition of quantum is the ratio between the amount of energy spent to the magnitude of the result. Well, what causes quantum to leap is, well, first of all, the nucleus of quantum is intention. And then the highest intention is being of value. So you launch an intention to be of value to others. That's when something awakens inside of you that is the essence of our identity, our spiritual identity. And when that happens, there's only goodness pouring out, and then the outside responds just like a mirror, just immediately. It's not work, it's not effort, it's a transition. And that, I love that, because now that's freedom for people. So they don't worry about manifesting anything, because it has everything to do with shifting the internal into a higher state of appreciation and love and gratitude. And when we do that, there's so much to be grateful about. Everyone on this call is what I'm grateful about right now, like huge. So how will I sleep, So thank you. I just wanted to share.
I love this. And I have to point something out. In the business world, when you did that and they called it out of the blues.
Yeah.
These things were out of the blues.
Yeah.
It struck me that if you're out of the blues, like being in the blues is a lower frequency.
Mm.
So not just out of the blue sky or whatever, I'm in the blues. It's kind of like, I'm just kind of, and so out of the blues. Anyway, that just struck me when you said that.
Okay, can I share one more thing really quick? Yes. When I was doing seminars originally, people would go on a break to their car and there'd be something on their phone, like someone they wanted to talk to that they haven't been able to reach, and that they've been, haven't heard from them 5 years, and now they want to do business with them. So when people came back, we all kind of in unison went, "It's a miracle. It's a miracle." So then that became before the out of the blues was "It's a miracle." Because that happened all the time, still does. Yeah.
Love that. And just before Tamara is going to say something, but just before, maybe not. But one of the things that Dr. Sandra says all the time is that the EE system and those energies are create miracles on a daily, moment-to-moment basis in those centers like Jennifer Irvin's all over the world, that miracles are happening, and it's that frequency raises the frequency, allows us to be in that space of the quantum to do whatever inner work we need to do. So that's exciting. Love those miracles.
Yes.
So there was one thing that I wanted to bring up today that you actually taught me, Dr. Dream, and that's flow. And it's been absolutely huge in my life and my friendships in the last few years. It is such a frequency raising practice. And flow is positive, loving, energetic looping. And it's so easy to do in your relationships with people, to just notice something about them, to just randomly appreciate them for something. And then almost without fail, they're going to send it right back at you. And then you can go on with it as long as you want to, but it will change your day every single time. It will raise your frequency every single time. And it's been super huge for me. So I wanted to share that.
That all came up because I realized that interacting with another human is that true interacting is completing the circle, we call it, which is people would come up to me after, all these events. So many people would come up, and some would just want to get me and get whatever they could get from me, and just kind of take whatever they could get in those moments. And it never drained me, because I'm tapped into an unlimited wellspring of energy, and you can't deplete me of something that I give away freely. But I would get bored. I would just be like, you're not completing the circle. We both have something for each other. And as soon as we realize that, and then Stephanie and I gave it a name, positive, loving, energetic loopers. And we would tell people, we even have stickers made, and we would tell people, like, you just created a plel moment, like you completed the circle. And I've never, as much as I have to give to everyone that I come into contact with, I have never had a situation where there wasn't something that I needed to get from that person myself, that it was never just a one-way street. And the most beautiful interactions are those positive, loving, energetic, looping, completing the circle interactions. And once you realize that that's how energy is looping, and you can also see it as the infinity symbol, it just changes everything in our interaction with people. And this perfectly takes us into the time for the closing meditation. As we come to the close of our time together tonight, let's take a moment to seal in all the insights, connections, and energy we've shared. I refer to that as anchor, lock, and seal. Gently close your eyes. Take a slow, steady breath in, and fully exhale. Bring your awareness once again to the pillar of light we connected with at the beginning of this session. See it shining brightly, flowing through the crown of your head, filling your heart and anchoring deeply into the earth. Now imagine this light gently expanding, enveloping your entire body, an energy field in a warm, protective glow. Feel yourself surrounded by love, strength, and clarity. As you breathe in, affirm to yourself that the frequency you cultivated tonight is becoming a part of who you are. As you exhale, send gratitude to yourself, to this group, and to the greater source that connects all of us. Quietly or out loud, however you want to do it, repeat after me. I carry my highest frequency forward with ease.
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 Take a deep breath in and exhale with gratitude, knowing this energy will guide you until we meet again here in this sacred space next week. Begin to gently wiggle your fingers and toes. And when you feel ready, open your eyes. Take a moment to notice how you feel grounded, empowered, and connected. Thank you all for sharing your energy tonight, for being part of part one of our three-part series. We'll be meeting a half hour earlier next week and ending at this same time. So it'll be 90 minutes. And we are complete now that I share with you that I love each and every one of you on the deepest levels that you can imagine. Thank you for being part of my experience. Love you.
Thank you.
Namaste. Thank you so much.